platform. I talk with people from brands too, but talk with people from a lot of different types of platforms. Whether they may not like being called this, but the monoliths, the composables, the proprietaries, some open source as well. How do you look at WordPress's position in the broader world of martech as things continue to evolve?
Yeah, I look at our position as a highly resilient one, and it's exciting from the standpoint. There's been a lot of trends over the time. You mentioned a lot of these words. You've got composable and monoliths and digital experience platforms versus
Right.
CMS, and I think there's a lot of terms we try to put on these things, and in reality, I think CMS, this idea of I have this a piece of technology where content creation lives and then content storing also exists. The storing of that content means that something like what we represent as a CMS is actually so critical to the martech stack. It's sort of the center of that universe because okay, this is the creation and store layer. Now presentation or other things that need to live around content and plug into that, be that what your knowledge of your customers or commerce or these other elements that will live around that, all need to plug in and interact with that. And so I think the beauty of the open standards of something like WordPress means, hey, you're using technology and you fully understand how it works. You're not locked into these proprietary platforms or proprietary software where now you're even in that risk of vendor lock. You can tap into a massive ecosystem with tens of thousands of integrations now. And so whatever needs to plug into this, you're not starting from scratch. And also you're not having to buy into like a suite of solutions that you may not love. And so we're trying to come at this and think like, hey, there is a suite of solutions and you have to use that. It's like, look, we recognize you're going to be using potentially things for personalization, customer data, product information. How do we just make sure that the ideals of WordPress, which is work well with others, is then applied to the enterprise when we talk about WordPress VIP? So we take this and then these ideas of composable. I mean, the beauty of WordPress is that, and as a starting point for us is WordPress was created in a web-centric way. And it's always funny to me that people will use that to try to deposition WordPress. But the reality is like 70 to 80% of your audience is going to be visiting you through a web view. And so that means all that work's already been done for you in an opinionated way, a tested way, a true way. And then when we think about other display areas, be that apps, or maybe you want to run more of a headless application, there's incredibly rich APIs and all these other things here that exist that allow you to then expose that content. Like we've got one of our customers is like using us to be that display when you walk into a hotel room and it's like, welcome, Greg, here's all the stuff you can do on property. Like that's WordPress. And so it's, and that's WordPress VIP. So we think about, all that stuff's happening natively in the platform. So whether it's composable, we call it composable today, or DXPs or any of these other things, it's more about these open principles and these open standards that are highly resilient so that when you and I do another chat here in 10 years and whatever the new AI trend is, it's not AI we'll be talking about, whatever it is,
Right.
WordPress will be resilient through that because it's open by default. It's integrated by default. It lives in this open standards world that's highly resilient for brands, and you can make long-term bets on it. That's why many of our customers have been with us for more than a decade, because we're very adaptable, and sort of as the web changes, so does WordPress. And there's a lot of strength in that.